A very pleasant, good Thursday afternoon as we welcome you into yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. And surprisingly enough, for the second straight show, we have both a Goon and an Ironhead on board for the big show today.
Very impressive.
We'll give ourselves a little pat on the back for job well done. Yes, it's crazy. Lots to get into. I do want to start with the ESPYs last night. Not something I normally watch, but because of the Katie Schumacher Collie
Awesome
award, which she got the Jimmy V Perseverance Award, I wanted to tune in and watch it. And there's just a few observations from it. One, it was very cool to have the Penn State flavor with Coach Schumacher Collie and Saquon Barkley getting honored. And, you know, Schumacher Collie did a great job of recognizing her team, recognizing the State College area. It was neat.
It was.
It really was. And the story, which we knew is inspirational, but I thought they did, ESPN did a fantastic job, as did Coach Katie, with the video. The amount of access that she gave to that final treatment and to what she's gone through and what the experience has been for her family. I think it's important. And I certainly understand and would understand anybody that's like, that part we want to keep to ourselves. But I think by opening up to the degree that she has, and in particular with that video, there is something comforting when you are going through something very, very difficult, knowing that there are other people. And in this case, somebody that has a lot of prominence, a lot of recognition, who is going through it, that shared experience, whether it's something wonderful, something awful. I do think there is a strength in having that ability to connect with somebody. And I have to believe that there are some people that are going through the very tough experience of getting chemo treatments. And we both know
the choir right now.
Know lots of people. And yeah, you've had a more recent experience, but it is tough. I mean,
you're right. The access that she gave was amazing.
Yes. And the way they presented it, the way she has handled it, and then the speech itself, and I want to talk a little bit about that, was phenomenal, because she recognized and owned up to, this was brutal. Like, it is a really hard thing to go through. I have a very good friend who has his son went through and thankfully is on the other side, and everything is looking very good. But, even more brutal, obviously, if it's a kiddo, because it's just not something you're expecting to have to deal with it at that age. Not that you're expecting to deal with it at Coach Katie's age either. But I thought the speech, so yes, it is very tough. Also, a lot of gratitude expressed by her, and that support system with her immediate family. And I think cool that they were all there. I think the one daughter was not altogether thrilled with getting that TV time, which was actually kind of a cute moment. Some of her players were there. That they got a little camera time, and that recognition of all of the support, the medical staff, obviously, that's directly doing the treatments, but the family, the support staff at Penn State, her coaches, the players, and obviously we're Penn State grads, Penn State people, but the I did get chills again when they were talking about in the semifinals being down 2-0, and that rally and the inspiration they drew.
We're not going to lose
from what she went through, and it just was inspiring. And
well, I mean, I got to tell you, what got me the most was her talking, and her mother was talking about her coming back from Philadelphia, from the University of Penn Hospital, and having done chemo for 4 hours that day. They get a 3-hour drive back, and she's laying on the couch, and they showed her on the couch. And she's not a small person; she's 6 foot tall. She's laying on a love seat, and how bad it was. I mean, how physically destroyed she was from that. And her mother said she would never not wake up and say, "Hey, I got to push through this." Every day she said, "I got to go. I got to do this. I got to do this." And then, but for her, I mean, in her mind, that's how she stayed. That's how she pushed herself through it. It was her team and her girls and that goal and beating cancer and just seeing her laying on that couch, and it's like no one would have said a word if she was like, "Hey, take the practice today. I'm a little beat up today." She didn't do that, and that's amazing.
Yes,
you can't like you're watching that as a player. You're not drawing inspiration from that.
Well,
that's wrong.
And that's the other thing. And we've had discussions on our morning shows over the years and on some of the sports talk shows, because there are some people that get and I really do understand where they're coming from, where we'll talk about the virtues of sport and the positives, and they're just true. But I've had some calls over the years where people called up and said, that it is possible to get those. Like, I never played sports, but I was in band, or I was in theater, and I was in this organization and that, and there's a discipline that comes with it. And no question. I don't deny that, and I'm not saying everybody has to do sports. I do think there's value. Personal opinion, I do think every kid should. Truthfully, I think every kid should be at least exposed to like a theater class or some sort of acting, because I think that imagination can be expounded for young people, and all young people have that imagination, and I think kind of harvesting into that, whether it's through writing or theater, or I do think that's important. So it's not that I think it's you do sports and you ignore everything else. I do think having exposure to sports, at least a sport when you're a youngster, I do think it's important. I think it's beneficial. I think it's positive, whether you have, even if you have no athletic ability, no interest in it. I think just getting out, getting some exercise, getting exposed to the disciplines, and again, at a youth level, it's minimal. I think that's fine. I think just getting that exposure is good. I think you should be exposed to
teamwork,
to musical instruments and all of that as well. I really do. I do think that in cases like this, that going through that sports experience is a benefit. Not saying that people who haven't been in sports can't beat cancer also, and there's obviously plenty of examples of people who have. But I do think there is something about that competitive spirit and the idea that I am going to be able to overcome whatever is put in front of me, because that is one of the things that sports kind of teaches you is, you're going to get knocked down, and you're going to get knocked down, and you're going to get knocked down. And every time you need to come back and learn a little bit, figure some things out, and get a little bit better. And again, not everybody's going to be championship stature. Not everybody's going to be high school starter stature. That's fine. It's about trying to become the best you can be and setting goals for yourself. And I just think that goal setting, all of those things that come with it, I think it does help in those crisis instances. I also think in listening to the Katie Schumacher-Colley's story, there is something to be said, and it doesn't have to be your family. It doesn't have to be that you're coaching a team, but I do think having something that you are fighting for above and beyond, hey, I just want to beat cancer. She wants to be the mom for her kiddos. She wants to be the coach for her team. And I think having that drive to be those things, and again, if you're not a mom and you're not a coach, finding something, hey, this is the purpose for which I want to continue my life. I think it is important. And I don't know, it's a very inspiring story. I think there were a lot of things that she touched on in that speech that are just really important messages for people who are going through, whether it's cancer or just other, tough experiences, whether it's diseases or just tough times. You lose a job, you're going through a divorce, whatever it may be. Finding a purpose to get through what you're dealing with, I think it is critical, and really reaching out and recognizing those around you that can help in whatever the matter is.
I was going to say about sports, and that is it's a team game.
Yep.
She couldn't have done what she had done without her assistant coaches and her players. So I mean, she understands that it's not just me. Her mother was there, Mike was there, her husband. The other reason why she wants to fight, but she's also saying, I need help. As a teammate, that's what you're there for. I'm here to do whatever you want for the team. And she understands that, and she understood that, and she allowed that to happen. She allowed those, the assistant coaches to do stuff for her, and she trusted them to do that. That's a big thing,
Yep.
In the athletic world, when you trust somebody to do something, you expect it to be done and done right and done as well as you would do it. And sports teaches you that. But yeah, I got torn up last night about that a whole lot. Big time with what I went through the last weeks with my wife and her family with that. But then again, I saw that picture of her on the couch, and I was just like, no one would have said a word. Everyone would have been like, hey, let her sleep. She needs to sleep. And she would not let herself do that. I mean,
yeah,
that's a tough person right there. One, and two is that she was galvanized, and she was, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
God bless. And then, when they went down 2-0, and then the girls were looking at each other and says, "We're not going to sit here and lose. We're not going to sit here and not fight for this." And how they did it, and I love what they said about the title match. And they were like, "There's no way in hell they were going to lose that match."
Yeah,
no chance. So awesome show, awesome thing. That was great for her. I did like the PSU flair to it, a lot of it. Good for her. Great stuff. The Eagles won a bunch of stuff. What you think about Gillis?
Yeah, so it is interesting. For that, if you missed it, Saquon Barkley got the play of the year for the backward leap, which,
oh my God,
that was to me the most obvious choice of all of the winners last night. To me, that there was no question. We've just not seen a play quite like that. So I thought very rightfully got it. Philadelphia Eagles got the team of the year.
Rightfully so.
Can I just throw in, I said on the morning show today, I understand, like the NFL, NHL, Major League Baseball, NBA drives ESPN. I get it. And obviously I'm going to advocate for Penn State Wrestling, but for a program to set a scoring record in 2 consecutive seasons, to have the first ever to accomplish something with Carter Storace's 5 titles.
Of the ESPYs?
They had, was it, oh my gosh, now I'm getting, I think David Taylor was. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to. I'll look it up. I'm not positive. Somebody was
it
at least considered for male athlete of the year. I don't think
Bo's pinning in the
I'll
final?
I'll have to go back and look. I'm honestly not certain now.
Well, in the same breath, we were talking about. They said they had the best teams. What we used to call the Sears Cup. They have a new name for it now.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
Learfield Directors Cup.
Yeah, but they said they gave it to North Carolina women's lacrosse and then Ohio State football. They gave it to two actual teams. Like, did Ohio State win the men's Learfield Cup?
No,
right? So why would they do it? And why, what I'm saying about, why would Penn State Wrestling not get consideration? Ohio State football. I mean, okay, I get it. It was the darling. They had a big comeback and all that stuff. But again, how can they? They're going to recognize a lesser sport like women's lacrosse in North Carolina. Why would they not even have, the all-time greatest wrestling team in collegiate wrestling history? Not a mention.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what all, and I'm sure there's other great accomplishments out there by individuals and teams that I'm not aware of either, because there's a lot of sports, there's a lot of crazy good accomplishments occurring out there, and part of it is you're trying to draw eyeballs to the set for your award show.
Imagine that.
And so. That being said, you have a program that has set the scoring record in back-to-back seasons. Maybe if they do it a third straight year and set records with a number of national champions and that sort of
any kind of coach of the year considerations. It's like, what's going on here? I mean,
yeah.
what else can a man do?
Yeah. So
because
maybe that'll get
the bar so high. Is that the problem? That the issue? That the situation? My Lord, man.
Consideration for next year, but. So the Shane Gillis thing, when I was like high school, college, David Letterman, before he got askew in my mind with politics, I thought he was genuinely just hysterical. Like the stuff that they were doing with the late night television was out of the box thinking, creative, and I thought hilarious. And I just remember having a conversation with my one grandfather, and he's like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like and I'm like, well, you just don't get it. Like, it is so funny. So,
oh no,
I'm watching last night, and
no.
I'm reading through the Facebook page, and several of my good friends are like, I know a couple of them were like, listen, I admit I'm old, but isn't the host supposed to be funny and this sort of stuff? I thought it was hilarious. And there's different styles of comedy. And again, it's a very subjective thing. It's just like sports announcers. There are people that I really think are good, great analysis. And I have friends that are like, I turn it off right away. Like, okay, I don't know. And there's others, by the way, that my friends hold a high, man, that guy's really good. I'm like, he just rambles. Like, it's not any good. So all of that stuff is very subjective. His style is very unique, and it feels like he is awkward, which I think it puts me, it's a different style, but it puts me in mind of Norm Macdonald.
That's
he
exactly
just always felt was not actually comfortable, but he actually was, and that was part of the bit. And it was hilarious. But it's off the wall. And I mean, some of the jokes are hard hitting. And I think that's what makes it hilarious. But again, everybody has their opinion. It was interesting to me to see the room be as seemingly uncomfortable as it was with him up there, just cracking jokes, and he knew he was going to go after basically everybody and everything. A couple of them I thought were brilliant. And listen,
they were brilliant.
One of the things
next level.
I will and I'll fess up to this. So we're watching the Super Bowl halftime show this past year, and I'm like, this is awful, and I don't even get what's going on. Well, I literally did get what was going on, and then I'm reading the reviews, and then I'm reading from some people that are following the Kendrick Lamar Drake thing, and it's like, oh, that actually, they put a lot of thought into it. Again, whatever you think of the singing of the performance, I'm like, that actually was a really, again, in the moment I'm watching, I'm like, this is awful. And I had no idea what was going on. I couldn't understand what was being said. I didn't know the context. Since then, I'm like, actually, it was not necessarily my cup of tea, but man, I do appreciate the artistic creativity and thought that went into it. And I think it was brilliantly executed for what it was. Again, whether it's your cup of tea or not. And I think Gillis last night, even if that's not your humor, and that's fine. I mean, I completely understand why some people, it's like, well, this, I don't get it. I get that you don't get it. I also think you can sit back, like the WNBA, when he calls out his friend's wife as a 4-time WNBA All-Star, and they pan to her, and she's waving, and they get the applause, and he's like, oh, that's not a WNBA All-Star. I just, you guys don't know who the WNBA
is. I love it.
And it was a very creative way. Instead of saying, the WNBA isn't popular, it's like, I'm going to make you see what it is I'm saying. It really was very, very creatively done.
What he said about, I'm like Caden Clark, a Midwest guy who's makes a career banging threes, and I'm like, dude, that's genius. That
nailing
was
threes,
threes, hilarious.
Yeah,
everything he did. There were even I at a time was like, that's not that good. And then I see it again this morning, and I watch it, and I'm like, that again is like Norm Macdonald. That is borderline genius right there. Like David Letterman. Great call, by the way. I was trying to figure out who that would have reminded me of. And remember how David had that like really, really dry, weird sense of humor back in the day. That was great.
Yeah, and so one of the things I think that you've got to know the audience they're going after, and they're not really going after me. And again, I thought it was funny, but the audience they were going after is more the young sports fan. And my guess is it hit pretty solidly with the young sports fan.
It didn't hit too well there, in my opinion. It wasn't like people weren't like falling down laughing and stuff like that. It was hard.
Oh no, in the arena,
audience, yeah.
No, but I think my guess is it hit pretty well with the target audience.
And they got what they want. What are we talking about?
No matter what you do, no matter what the host is, there's going to be criticism. I mean, it's just one of those things. There's just certain jobs. If you're a politician, you're going to get criticized. If you're a sports announcer, it just comes with the territory. There's just going to be some people that don't like your style, that think you give too many details, that you don't give enough details, that you know too much and you don't know how to communicate it, that you don't know enough. And so everybody has their own little preference, and it's the same thing. I think you at least want some humor in that show. I saw somebody saying, why do we have to have comics? And fine, you can have somebody else, but I don't think you want to just have a dry, all right, and now the next award is, like, you want to have some personality there. And I think humor is a good way to try to loosen things up. And again, different people are going to have things that they think are funny. Hey, that one went too far. I'm one of those. I prefer, go ahead and push it a little bit. I like the envelope being pushed, even if, and there are times where I'm like, I think that went too far. In my mind, it's like, well, that's good though. To me, getting people, including myself, out of their comfort zone. So
he did one thing last night that I didn't get. He announced Diana
Taurasi.
Yeah, but he said Deanna. and she gave the old like I'm PO'd right now look. And I wonder if there's something inside on that because I can't imagine him saying her name wrong. I mean, he talked about it all day. Like I knew all week that joke wasn't going to happen, or this was,
Yeah.
So they've been practicing. It wasn't that he was ad-libbing anything. So he said that Deanna, and then whatever. She gave a little like, oh, leave me alone type of thing. I wonder. I don't know what the story on that is.
I missed that.
Yeah, but I love him. I find him hilarious. I don't know if you watched his Netflix show.
I have not.
Oh, dude. Okay, so dude, I grew up. My father owned a tire shop.
Yeah.
So I just laugh because it's not really about tires and stuff like that, but it's in the tire shop, and that's where like 90% of my stories come from. How funny everything was, and I talk about my dad's shop back in the day. The show was hilarious. Everybody has Netflix. There's 2 seasons of it. You get through it in a day. It was in the first season, and he's so freaking funny. Again, he's next level. He thinks ahead. He's ahead. He's a very intelligent person to listen to. Again, like Norm and like David Letterman. He actually used the Norm joke on the OJ joke. Did you catch that?
No.
Yeah, he said, talking about the Heisman Trophy, the guy from Colorado, Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
And he goes, Travis, you just like my good friend Norm McDonald had said to Charles Woodson when he won the Heisman in 1997. He's like, nobody can ever take that away from you, Charles, or he said Travis last night, unless you kill your ex-wife and a waiter. And then they're going to take it from you and all that. Again, the room was like, oh, you know what I mean? The same way Norm got that response 20 years ago, he had the same response then. So I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
He paid a little homage to his guy.
Yeah. No, I thought the show was pretty well done.
I wouldn't have watched it had it not been for
I wouldn't have
without
either.
Katie and then seeing Shane Gillis, because I knew that was going to be a tough room. But again, I think that he has the younger audience that they're looking for, and it was spot on with a lot of them.
Yeah, that's my.
Not a lot of the athletes liked it. I didn't think it was like the what you heard from the crowd wasn't exactly a wow, that's hilarious, or this and that. It was more shock and awe, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
but I found it great. I enjoyed it. But yeah, Katie, that was a great one. Saquon winning a couple of things like that. I want to go the Sears Cup thing, the Learfield thing. I mean, we're giving it to a team now. Then why are we having all these different things? I mean, I don't understand it. And it's like, oh well, North Carolina, they won 2 national titles this year, so they won. And I'm like, well, Penn State won 2 national titles.
Yeah, I think Stanford did win the
every year. It should be called the Stanford Cup. To be honest,
yeah. Next year, I think the question is going to be for the team of the year. Do you go with Penn State Wrestling or Penn State Hockey or Penn State Football or Penn State Women's Volleyball with those national championship squads? Well, the Steelers, you mean. State Steelers knocking off the Eagles.
What if it happened? What if it happened? I mean, I'm serious. I have had this conversation since I moved here in 1991. What would happen if the Eagles played the Steelers in the Super Bowl? I've thought about it, and I've often said that the line I always use is Calder Alley would be full of blood. It would be flooded with blood. I mean, it would be like roving maniacs running downtown.
It would be a wild scene.
Yep. I think, and then the whole week, the Super Bowl week 2, guys get doing the Eagles chants or, playing Renegade out in the lot, Could be ugly.
Yeah. I thought some of the Bill Belichick jokes last night were hilarious.
Bill Belichick thinks of a bookie. It's what he reads to his girlfriend.
It was pretty funny. It was, I really did. I thought it was pretty well executed. So
I wish the crowd had laughed more because he did a lot of that one didn't work, because it was like he was it was again next level. I mean, him saying Bill Belichick's girlfriend. What bookie means to him is what he reads to his girlfriend.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of good stuff. I thought very funny, and again, humor is subjective. If you didn't find it funny,
all my award shows plain. No, you don't. You would complain if it was just that. Yeah, it's what it is.
No, it was, I thought it was very well done. All right, we'll take a break here. We are back with much more. It is our Thursday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker
No
Steak
one
Lube.
likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Tonight, your MLB Draft League first half champions, State College Spikes, continue the second half of the 2025 home schedule with a 6:35 p.m. matchup against the West Virginia Black Bears. Enjoy the most affordable drafts in Happy Valley on a Thirsty Thursday. 12-ounce drafts are just $2 a piece from 5:30 to 7:30. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, the Fox, your sports radio. Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America. 98.7, the Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
Here on a Thursday afternoon, heading into another wonderful weekend in the Valley of Happiness. We will have the Happy Valley Brewers Fest, which I am very much looking forward to on Saturday. That'll be up next to Medler Field, Porter North lot. across from Beaver Stadium. Of course, the work being done there, preventing the on-field experience that they had a year ago, but should be a lot of fun. I think 75 brewers are now lined up to
you're having to
be serving on Saturday. Yeah, I do. I enjoy it. I enjoy getting together with friends and having some brews, but also just talking and learning a little bit both about the process and how they make some of the brews, but also just the stories that a lot of the brewers have, the different backgrounds, why,
how they got into it, where the name come from, all of the stuff.
Yeah, it's just it's a neat event. So very much looking forward to that.
I mean, I haven't been, and I will be there this week. The brewers will be right there serving the drinks to you and stuff like that. So what is the deal? You pay like $50, $100. I don't know what it is.
Well, the VIP I think was $95 so you can get in at 3:00. General admission is at 4, but you can buy the VIP pass and get in an hour early, and obviously fewer lines, less people, and so you can get, whatever your favorites are, you can head over there and get that.
So you'll go in with a game plan of what you want to try, won't you?
There's a couple that I know for sure, but I do like just hey, let's see.
let's pull this whole onion back. So like you'll see the list of people there and be like, oh my God, I've had that before. I want that.
There will be a few that yes, I know I want to head to, but a lot of them it's just hey, what do they have? What's and some of it is just sounds intriguing. Let me go over to that tent. Or you start talking to people and they're like, hey, have you had this one? Man, that one's a little different than anything I've had. Or, again, depending
you and I are very different on our beer tastes.
Yeah.
I do not like the IPA. I don't like hoppy beers and stuff like that, whereas you really, really enjoy them.
I do. The IPAs are still my favorite. I'll go through different, but IPAs are, I just enjoy them. I mean, that's what, to me, beer should taste like, generally speaking.
Speaking of that,
but I do like trying some other, I like getting a variety with this event in particular, and just, again, it's small samples, so that's the other nice thing is that if you get something that's, I don't really care for that, okay, well, in a swig, you can move on and find something that you do.
So what if you really like it and want a glass of it? Not a little cup, but can they sell you, or can you get a larger cup?
Not out there. Okay. No, not at this particular.
Are they
event,
selling?
But you can buy.
Do they sell?
No, not at this event. So looking forward to that. Tuesday night's All-Star game, from a Pennsylvania perspective, worked out pretty brilliantly. Paul Skeens with a couple of strikeouts and an Aaron Judge ground out. Pitches a perfect 1-2-3 top of the first to get the game started. And then we'll get into the tie-breaking procedure. It's another one of those. It's kind of like Shane Gillis. That there are people that loved it. There are people that think it was awful. I was a little surprised, and I've been listening to some of the analysis since. And I guess I always thought, and it makes sense that it's not the case, but I always thought the players would want to play quote unquote real baseball and even like putting the runner at second.
Yep.
But a lot of the analysts, if you read, and the folks that were covering, it's like, no, the players love getting the, I guess you kind of forget, or I forget from their perspective, right? It is a long season. You have a lot of long games. They want to get those games over. They want to win, but they want to get the games over with. Like the 21-inning games, while unique and memorable, not a lot of fun for the players if you're getting up and then going through another 9 innings the next day and another 9 innings the following day. So I guess I didn't really think that part through, that how much the players actually want the game sped up, and there was, and it was a pretty informal survey, but seemed like a majority of the All-Stars were like, yeah, let's just do this for the regular season games.
I understand why. I mean, it goes back to who was the Milwaukee Brewers owner, who was the president?
Bud Selig.
Bud Selig. Remember he went down on the field and said, "That's it, the game's over now." Remember that happened, and it was like, whoa. And then they changed it all around. Like, remember the home team, the winning team gets the home for the World Series, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't mind the home run derby, but I understand the point is teams don't want their pitchers having to go out there and pitch extra innings. They don't need pitched. That game with Bud Selig, when he called that game, they had no more pitchers. So whoever's pitcher was had to finish that game, and it was like, dude, I'm not gonna blow this guy's arm out.
Right.
Not that you would, but you're gonna take the guy another start away from his real team. And I can tell you right now that the owners were not happy about that, using their players type of that way. But then they put 5 more pitchers on there. Have them there, or do the bases loaded thing in the extra innings. And get some excitement. I did like the home run derby, but I did fall asleep for it. But I did like how it ended, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I fell asleep on the All-Star game, but
so did I.
But Kyle Schwarber goes 3 for 3. And if you didn't follow it and you don't know what we're talking about, so if the game ends in a tie, and I think this rule went into effect in 2022, but Tuesday was the first time that it came into play. And first of all, it was remarkable, the American League's comeback. National League is up 6-0.
Yeah.
6th inning. You're like, all right, well, that's
when I was out.
Yeah. And then the American League launches a remarkable comeback, ties it at 6. And I'm not sure, I wasn't aware of it. I'm not sure how many folks were aware of this new tie-breaking procedure. But each league designates ahead of time 3 batters that will get 3 pitches each, and the team that has the most home runs of the 9 pitches wins the game. And it was truly remarkable. National League ends up winning at 4-3, but Kyle Schwarber goes 3 for 3.
Yeah, they didn't have the other two. The last 2 guys didn't have the bat. He had won it right off the get.
And again, truly remarkable. And so the National League wins it. Schwarber's the MVP. Game going to Philadelphia next year, so it creates another good storyline there. But you have, again, Paul Skeens of the Pirates starting the night in brilliant fashion for the National League, and Kyle Schwarber ending the night by handing the
hopefully their teammates
National
someday
League
in Philadelphia. That'd be great if they were teammates.
It'd be awful.
He's not going to be in Pittsburgh.
Awful. I don't think Schwarber will end up in Pittsburgh. Yeah,
no.
I think you're right.
Well, Schwarber could. They could open a bank. I mean, aren't they investigating nutting right now about having to spend more money because it's like this is absurd.
It is.
There's
absurd.
a couple teams, and then how about we talked about it the other day, the Blue Jays, Devil Rays going for $1.7 billion. You just got to say to you, what is going on here? What are the Pirates worth?
Yeah, well, the money that's involved in.
Now, have you heard? I have to ask you this. You're in tune. You're a Buccos guy. Have you heard he wants out of Pittsburgh? He wants the team moved to Nashville.
Oh yeah, that's been. Yes.
Does he have roots there? I mean, why? Because it's a budding city, and he has a whole new group of people who can be suckers and buy tickets and not be competitive.
Yeah, it's this gets back to the whole debate on what makes a great sports town, and I will argue till the end of the day that the turning out when your team is consistently losing, like the Cubs fans, right, get all kinds of credit. Man, it doesn't matter how bad that. Well, what is the incentive then for ownership to put out a winning product? Like I understand, they're diehards.
I get it,
but
conversation. And
yes,
you make good points.
And it's just in what there is no other business. I mean, I could ask hypothetically, but there is no other business where we say a good customer, a truly good customer, is somebody that goes and buys subpar products.
You have a bad restaurant experience, but you know what? I'm going to keep going there
because just because I'm loyal. I'm a diehard. Well, no, you're an idiot. If you keep getting bad food, you keep getting bad service. And again, it is entertainment. Now, if you're being entertained at the game, if they're competitive, and fine. And again, it's obviously your choice.
No.
I mean, it's not like the fans are being forced to go. But I'm saying if you are the owner and you're like, well, we're selling out every night and we stink, why would you invest in a ton more money to put out a winning product? It's like, well, no, we're going to keep raking in the money no matter what. So I do think there is something to be said for fans who will show up and it's, that bandwagon. Well, no, it's just, you want to see a winning.
Pittsburgh's a little different. So you've got 6 Super Bowls and 5 Stanley Cups. You've had some winning. I mean, what's Cleveland had? What has Buffalo had?
Yeah.
In their careers, there's really nothing. I mean, that's where you're just like, okay, these people are crazy because they do support and stuff like that. And
it's a smaller market than a lot of the certainly major league teams that we're talking about and comparing them to. And so you have to play a different game in terms of, all right, we're going to kind of load up. The problem is the Pirates never truly load up. You thought, I thought with the Paul Skeens window, all right, I never expected them to go all in. Like, all right, let's go get
what they did with McCutcheon when he was young, right?
They never went all in. They
just relied on that core.
Well, they made some moves, but I mean, I never felt like, and they had some moves that backfired a little bit that you wouldn't have expected. But I think if you have a team that is like a player away and big money player, but if you're in it to truly win a championship, and again, there's no guarantee, that's the thing. It's like, well, you could bring in the best player that's out there and with the hope that you're going to get there, but it's just such a fine line. And you get a tough pitching matchup on one night where your guy pitches brilliantly, but the other guy's just a little bit better, and you lose a 1-0 game, and it can flip a series. So it's, again, there are no guarantees. You understand that. And by the way, you cannot make that big move and catch lightning in a bottle, right? It's like, wow, that guy that was a 250 hitter all year all of a sudden comes up and has 3 home runs in the series and bats 400 for the series, and there we are. We want one. So, I mean, I understand it as far as it goes both ways, but you just never get the sense that the Pirates are really trying to go all in and let's go win a championship. It feels like they're trying to, let's see if we can occasionally get to the playoffs and maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle. But man, if we get to the playoffs, we'll be able to feed off of that for another decade is, again, what it feels like
I used to go crazy
with the Pirates ownership.
The Sixers trust the process. The process is teaching you how to lose, that it's cool to lose. And it's like, that's fine. We're okay. We're building towards next year. What has that created? It's a losing culture that the Sixers have. This trust the process of 5 top 3 picks in 6 years. What they get them. They haven't even played. They haven't even played in an Eastern Conference final.
Yeah.
That's what you get from all that. It's insane. Like, all you did was teach your players that, okay, we're not worried about winning. We're worried about making money and getting to the next level, but we're going to have this huge team growing in 5 years. And what do you have? You have nothing. So everything you said was bullcrap. Everything. So I can see where the Sixers fans are. They're done with them. You could say the Philadelphia fans are, send back the Eagles, Flyers. I mean, especially the Flyers the last 5 or 6 years, they've been so bad, but they're still packing. Sixers are just so bad, and they purposely were bad for a while. And they were like, "Oh, it's okay, it's cool." I'm like, that's not cool. Like, what professional team says trust the process of, oh yeah, it's okay to lose, but all you've created was this losing culture that the Sixers have now. It's horrible. And then the Eagles are the complete role reversal of that right now. They're trying. I mean, they've wanted to be the big leading organization in the NFL, and they're getting real damn close to it right now with what they're doing. I mean, dude, Howie's drafting so well, but the problem they're running into is they can't sign these guys to second contracts because they have talent coming in behind them. It's cheaper and they're playing better. It's like, whoa. So I trades, get some of these guys out on trades and stuff like that. But geez Louise, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty good to be an Eagle fan right now.
Yeah, no, the organization is just phenomenally run and has a lot obviously going for it right now. And it is hard to see how they won't be in the mix anyway for the next few years at the very least. It just, not unlike the Chiefs and really not unlike the Bills. I mean, I know the Bills haven't gotten there, but they are consistently right there, right in the mix. And I think, again, whether or not you can get over the hump and take that next step remains to be seen. I am curious, the Phillies-Mets battle will be interesting to see what moves they make. I am curious to see with the Pirates what moves they make, what direction they feel like they need to go. And then also I do want to see how this thing finishes up, because it feels like they've stabilized to being a 500 type of team. Now they started that play after they were whatever it was, 15 games under 500. So you're starting in the hole, and I understand that. But if they can play, let's just say from this point on, 500 ball this second half of the season, in essence from the All-Star break, I actually think you'll have a good feeling, not a great feeling, but I think a good feeling as a Pirates fan about what the future could hold. Again, the starting pitching is terrific. And I guess the question becomes, from an organizational standpoint, saying, all right, well, we have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. Yes, the starting pitching staffs. Do you, and as far out as they are with that pitching staff, it really is incredible. And, they had the great week with the homestand where, man, the bats are alive. It seems like everything's coming together. Then they go on the road and forget about it, and everything feels like it's back to where it was. I do wonder if they look at this, and they have some rising young pitchers as well coming up through the system. So do you look at this? And again, I really don't think they're trying to put together a championship team. But do you look at this and say, all right, well, to try to get to be a playoff team, let's go ahead and get rid of a pitcher or two and get some guys that we think can be stars or at least really good starters as position players, and perhaps get some bats in there for your lineup. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
All right, so this is pretty world-renowned in Philadelphia about how good Steve Carlton was back in his heyday when he first came to Philadelphia, but how bad they were.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about his 1972 season? His first Cy Young Award. The Phillies won 59-97.
Yeah.
Steve Carlton was 27-10 with a 1.97 ERA, 310 strikeouts. Led the league in ERA, strikeouts, wins, and he won his first Cy Young. That's Paul Skeens. That is Paul Skeens right there.
Yeah, But
he's going to win a Cy Young on a loop at 7 and 25.
Will the Pirates put enough around him to make this window? And it's a small window, right? A few more years here where the Pirates could, in theory, and that was kind of the hope this year is, all right, let's see if they can take that next step. Even if they don't get to the playoffs, can they be in the mix? And instead they take, maybe a step back even from a year ago. And it just is, it's really hard to believe that with that starting staff and Skeens obviously leading the way, that they can be struggling to the degree that they are. And, really in a division that is not a great division. And they're 17 and a half games out or 7, whatever it is already. And again, thank you, Colorado Rockies, because if it wasn't for the Rockies, we'd be talking about maybe the worst team in the National League. The Rockies are just, it is crazy how bad that Rockies team is this year as well. But there are some interesting storylines. The AL East is going to be a fascinating watch here this second half of the season. Again, Phillies, Mets, what moves those organizations make, and watching that battle down the stretch, I think is going to be a lot of fun, just baseball in general. I think that's going to be interesting to follow. And again, from the Pirates' perspective, no thoughts of getting into playoff contention. It's, all right, can this team play above 500 just for that second half of the season? And if they do, how good of a feeling do you allow yourself to have going into next season if you are a Pirates fan? And I'm not sure the answer to that. I do want to talk some college football when we come back, and just some of the storylines, I think, for Penn State and for the Big Ten, and then college football in general going into the upcoming season. Again, very high expectations here around the Penn State program, and I think rightfully so. We'll get into kind of what, as the season plays out, what is going to lead you to believe that this is a successful season, program is taking the next step versus here we go again type of thing. We'll kick that around a little bit when we return. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show right here from Quaker Steak and Lube on Sports Radio 98.7.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter. and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Tonight, your MLB Draft League first half champions, State College Spikes, continue the second half of the 2025 home schedule with a 6:35 p.m. matchup against the West Virginia Black Bears. Enjoy the most affordable drafts in Happy Valley on a Thirsty Thursday. 12-ounce drafts are just $2 a piece from 5:30 to 7:30. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7. The Fox. State College. The Goon and Ironhead.
Those guys. We're back here at Quaker Steak and Lube on a Thursday as we hurtle toward football season, dear Goon. Again, expectations very high for Penn State. Very good offensive line coming back. Very good quarterback coming back. Very good running backs. Outstanding tight ends. New core of receivers. And I think that is unquestionably the biggest area of concern going into the season. But I do think with Andy Kotelnicki and Drew Aller having the command they do now of this offense and knowing what they have, I just don't have any doubt that there's going to be a step forward. Now, how big of a step, obviously, is going to be important here. How consistently these guys make the routine plays, and quite frankly, how consistently they make the extraordinary plays to help their quarterback and team out. If they can get some high-end production from the receivers, in my mind, Penn State becomes the team to beat in the Big Ten. I think it's very close between Penn State and Ohio State right now. And I think you need to see if Penn State does not have a Jeremiah Smith on that roster, but can they get production from the receivers to such a degree that it takes the pressure off of that running game to be the end-all be-all for this team. And if again, they don't have to get wild success. They just have to get good production from that core. And if they do, Goon, I mean, I think everything else is in place there for Penn State to be the team that is hoisting the national championship trophy at the end of the season.
Yeah, I don't think our guys, it's not lost on our guys that they're the hunted now.
Mm-hmm.
They truly are. They're everybody's like, it is Ohio State and this and that, but you know what? Ohio State's Ohio State. It has been Ohio State for the last 20 years. Now we're stepping up to that ballpark right now where we are competing with the Ohio States of the world right now and on paper right now, offensively, we are better than them on paper. Having with the total necky, but you have Valor, our running game, our offensive line, our tight end, and anything better than what we had last year with our wide receiver play, in my opinion. So I don't think that, I guess there's a couple of ways they could go this season, and that is trying to light the world on fire from day one. Instead of just relaxing and just let's just play football, go out, get the run game going, get the wide receivers going, play action passes, stuff like that. I think that's what we're going to be really, really good at. You know me, I'm a big play action guy because one is if you can run the ball, it opens up the passing game so much. And we have a damn good running game, but they're not going to let us run on them. So we will have to pass on teams. It's the old adage, you got to pick about how do you want to play Penn State next year. So think of yourself as a DC, and that is, that run game's potent. The wide receivers have shown me nothing because we don't know who the hell they even are. So we're going to put 8 in the box and say, okay, you got to throw the ball on us. And, now you got a Drew Aller out there and you have a tight end room, which is one of the tops in the country right now. And an offensive line that can protect. Let's get it on, man.
Well, here's the other part of it for Penn State. And one of the things I'm really excited to see how this Penn State offense utilizes its personnel is with the tight end spot. And I know, listen, they lost one of the all-time greats here in Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think there's going to be a drop-off in terms of production from the tight end position. They've got 3 really good, like really good. Maybe not Tyler Warren, but I wouldn't put it past 1 or 2 of these guys being Tyler Warren-esque before it's all said and done. And I think they can use both the running game and the tight ends to kind of set up the receiver play. Now, that's all well and good, but then when the ball is thrown to the receivers, you've got to have enough separation and enough playmaking ability to go get the job done. And that's still, until you see it in game situations, and truthfully, we might get some slight idea through those first 3 games. We're not really going to know what Penn State has there until the Oregon game. And you see a defense like Oregon's, and they'll make adjustments as the game goes along and how Penn State counter adjusts. Penn State may put up some great numbers with the receivers through those first 3 games, and to me, but meaningless.
Again, will be meaningless.
I'd like to see it. Don't misunderstand, but I don't think you can. If you have somebody that 3 straight 100-yard games, again, better than not, but meaningless until you.
And we're sitting there on a bye week saying, "Oh, problem solved. Our wide receiver core is legit." And they go against Oregon and they shut them down, and you're screwed.
Yep.
You can't trust them that much. Yes, you want to get them out of the gates pretty quick. That will probably be the play to try and get the wide receiver some attention, some play, take some pressure off of Aller and the running game.
Yeah. We were talking with Mike Motti on Tuesday about the leadership on this team, and I do think
it's good.
I think it's really good, and I think one of the benefits that this program has now with the experience that it's gone through over the last couple of years in getting closer and closer is I think they're hungry, but I think you have a lot of guys now who have a lot of experience and a real understanding. And it starts with Drew Aller. Obviously, again, I do think he comes into the season with a chip on his shoulder. I think that is a good thing for Penn State. I think you have a very talented guy who has had Very good, very consistent numbers over the last 2 years, but, has the big game question mark still. And can he come through in the big moment?
True.
And I think both he and Andy Kotelnicki are addressing that. And again, it's another one that you're not going to know until you see him in there against Oregon and Ohio State. And really, you need to see it when it's the playoffs and the chips are down and you need a big play. Is he able to go out and deliver? And my guess is yes, he will, but it is legitimately and understandably a question going into the season. But I think Aller, because of that experience and because of the chip on the shoulder, obviously you start with him as a leader on offense. I think, Singleton and Allen have been leaders from day one. I think one of the interesting things, one of the storylines that will be worth watching is how Penn State uses the running back personnel, because you have a couple of guys now behind Singleton and Allen that how do you, again, there's only one football. There's, yes, you want to give your guys rest, but you don't want to go many plays without Singleton and or Allen out there. But I am wondering, Goon, and again, I think the receiving core will be better. I am wondering how much they just go with, hey, we have, again, really 4 deep, maybe 5 deep at running back. Let's maybe look at doing some different things with and get some of the running backs in the passing game, and not just Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton, or do some play action with one of those guys and get some of these other backs involved. Again, same thing with the tight end. I think there's a lot of different games they can play within the game to get the ball downfield without your receivers. At the same time, it does feel like if they are going to take that next step and close the deal and win a national championship, you obviously can't go through an entire game without a wide receiver making a play for you. Like that can't happen. You can rely on your tight ends, you can rely on your running backs and your quarterback, but you got to have some contribution. There has to be some downfield presence, playmaking ability from the receiving core. And again, it can be assisted by the play of all of those other units, but you've got to get some playmaking ability downfield to be able to make that next step as a program and at least get to the national title game in the upcoming season.
Do you know how good Kotelnicki is to just have no wide receivers and have a tight end game the way he did last year, knowing that everybody in the country is going to try and stop that tight end play?
Well, and again,
wide receivers.
I will be interested to see if they experiment a bit with putting one of those running backs out at wide receiver. I'm not talking about converting them to
I got you.
A wide receiver. I'm just saying in spot situations, Nicholas Singleton has some pretty good speed. Might you get one of the younger backs in there with Katron Allen in the backfield and just put Singleton out there here and there as, all right, let's give you something else to think about as a concern. And again, with the creativity of Kotelnicki, the thing that can open up for you is, and again, you don't want to get carried away with this. This can't be the bread and butter of your, man, we're just going to fool you every game. But, yeah, we're going to pitch it to Allen now. Is he going to hand it off to Singleton who's coming around, or maybe throw it to Singleton, or is he just going to keep it? Like I do think there's some – I'm expecting in those first 3 games, we're going to see a lot of different things. And I think it will be partly, let's see what works a little bit, but I think more so let's set up what other teams have to worry about and what we see other teams adjust to. And then again, make whatever changes accordingly, because again, they are loaded. I don't think you can overstate the talent they have in the running back room and in the tight end room. And
you got to keep them happy, too, because they're not going to be there next year if you don't.
Yep.
Well, I know we have a couple guys that are going to be, Allen and going to be gone.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think there's I think there's some real opportunities there and having a creative person like Kotelnicki in charge of that offense, I think will be very beneficial. The defensive side to me is just going to be fascinating to watch because Jim Knowles is obviously next level, big time defensive coordinator. The Oregon game is circled for sure. Whiteout game, excitement of that. Very good program. One of the national title contenders for sure going into the season. But it is that Ohio State game that has the chance to define this team as having, all right, they're taking that next step. You go to Columbus and win, and I don't care how you win. If you get that win, then it sets up the very real, almost, I was going to say possibility, likelihood of an undefeated season for you. But then it definitively feels like you've taken that next step. They clearly have to win one of the two between Oregon and Ohio State for this season to feel like it was successful. I'm just not sure at the end of the day. You can't define 11-1 playing in the Big Ten title game as anything other than successful. But if you beat Oregon and you lose, let's say by 2 or 3 touchdowns to Ohio State, right? Like it's not. There's going to be some real questions about whether this program. Now, if you go out and win the national title and you run the playoffs, the playoffs, obviously,
you're still playoff bound.
Yes, that's where the ultimate definition, and it's not going to be like Ohio State. I did think one of the the funny things last night was when Shane Gillis was going through the teams of the year. He's like, I'm not saying Philadelphia should win it clearly, and then he's like giving you all the reasons Philadelphia should. But it was funny at Ohio State. I mean, national champion. Of course, he did lose to Michigan again, didn't you? He had a lot of good little lines like that. But so I don't think, while in the moment Penn State fans will be bitterly disappointed, and we're going to hear all about it, and James Franklin, big game James, and all that, it's going to come back. Unlike Ohio State fans, if Penn State loses to Ohio State and then goes and wins the national title, I don't think anybody's going to give a rip about the loss to Ohio State.
All right, what if they go 10-2 again and lose in the semifinals again?
Yeah, so this is...
I guess that's what my question is to you. Is that, are you or a waste of season?
Yeah, I'm in between, which probably is not a satisfactory answer to a lot of people.
It's a horrible answer.
Listen, I do. It would be disappointing.
I agree.
I don't think there's any question that anything other than a national championship will be disappointing. Now, we get into semantics sometimes with, is it a failure? Is it? No question will be disappointing. I think this team rightfully believes it should go win a national championship. I think the fan base believes this team can go win a national championship. I think it has now the experience, especially in some of the key spots. You feel like it's been building up to this,
yes,
and it needs to have the crescendo. That being said, I think Texas is feeling the same way going into the season. I think Ohio State and Georgia always feel like they should be out there winning national titles. I think
Oregon does too.
Yeah, I think Oregon is at the point now where, also kind of similar to Texas and Penn State, they feel like, it's just our time. Like this is our time. And I think Clemson is interesting because I think opinion of Klubnik, and I think that the belief is when you have a quarterback like that, you ought to go out and win the national title, and they feel like they have the pieces in place to go do it, and maybe have a little easier path to get to the playoffs than at least to a conference championship than the other than the SEC schools or the Big Ten schools. But I don't know that there's a pressure there on Clemson the way they're I think Penn State and Texas in particular are feeling it. I think Oregon to a slightly lesser extent. I think they felt like last year was the year, and there's disappointment there. I also think while they're all in on this year, I think there's a feeling that, all right, they could get back there again in the next year or two. Not that Texas and Penn State and all of these other schools don't feel that.
Correct.
And I do think Penn State can get right back in the mix the following year, regardless of how this season plays out. But tougher to do when you have a new starting quarterback. And tougher to do when you lose some of the leadership pieces that Penn State will lose at the end of the upcoming season. But I do think that if Penn State, to your scenario, they finish with 2 losses, let's say they lose to Ohio State, get to the semifinals, and lose to Georgia or to Clemson, whatever it may be. Again, disappointment for sure. I also think big picture perspective, right? It clearly shows your program has arrived. And again, there's just a lot of things that have to break your way to win a national title. You obviously have to be a very good team. I think Penn State, check. You have to get a break or two. You have to come up with a play or two in the clutch. Obviously, correct. Penn State unable to do that with Notre Dame last year. You're going to be playing, if you're getting to the semifinals, you're playing another outstanding football team. Your teams aren't getting to the Final Four without being really good in their own right, good coaches, the whole bit. So it's not that I'm going to think that the season is a failure and Penn State's never going to get there. I think we'll hear some of that, but I do think it would be disappointing. I think to at least get the next step and get to the national championship game and being in that game. And again, if you're that close, if you're in the game and you lose, there's no way you can't be disappointed at that stage, because it's like, my gosh, we were.
I'm thinking in my head now of how many teams have the same scenario as us. It's like it's the time. Notre Dame sitting there saying that. Texas, Oregon, Penn State.
Yeah, to me, Texas,
we all not finished what they've gone after the last few years.
Texas and Penn State, to me, are the two that feel most like, all right, listen, we have been working toward this. We have everything together now. We just need to go out and do it. Now, Texas has a very high profile first-year starter, still a first-year starter. Doesn't feel like your typical first-year starter by any stretch. And I think we'll test the theory a little bit, because I think most folks, and there's been plenty of exceptions, you go back to Trevor Lawrence, but I think generally speaking, you would rather have an experienced quarterback, somebody that has a couple of seasons under their belt, than a first-year starter.
Absolutely.
Now, you roll with what you have. I understand that. And it doesn't feel like Texas is at a significant disadvantage having Arch Manning as their quarterback in the upcoming season. It doesn't feel like, oh man, what are we going to do? We just got to hope the quarterback. I mean, they're thinking Arch Manning's going to go win the Heisman and they're going to win the national title. And by the way, both could happen. Those are not far-fetched scenarios for sure. I do think it's going to be fun to see how the season plays out, and whether or not there's somebody else. I think most people, while Oregon is certainly on the list of contenders, I don't know that I'm trying to think. I don't think I've seen anybody predict, which again, it's predictions, which go wrong all the time. But I don't think I've seen anybody say they think Oregon's going to win nationally, like Phil Steele or any of the ESPN analysts or anybody. I don't think I've seen anybody say Oregon will end the year, this upcoming season, number one. Texas, I've seen Clemson, I've seen Penn State, I've seen Georgia, and I've seen Ohio State. I think those are the 5 schools that people, and I think Penn State is getting as much number one pub as anybody. Penn State, Texas, and Ohio State are the 3 most common number one picks that I've seen.
Yeah. Well, maybe
and all three are, I don't know that I've seen anybody that doesn't have those 5 teams that we mentioned.
There's
in whatever order.
There's no Alabama jumping in there or
LSU.
Well, I mean, they're there. They're 7, 8, 9. They're not in that top 5.
Yeah, which is the interesting thing. Like in the Big
those
Ten,
guys would be number 1 easy.
Well, yeah. And in the Big Ten, I think it feels like it's a 3-team race: Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. If I threw out to you, all right, there is going to be somebody else that crashes the party. One of those 3 only one of those 3 teams is going to be in the championship. Who is the other team then? If you take out 2 of Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, and by the way, I think 2 of those teams will be in the championship. I think we have
in the final
in the Big Ten championship game.
That's Michigan. Michigan's the outlier because I don't think Indiana. If you want to say Indiana, by the way, Gillis making that little snide comment about Michigan last night. Oh, okay, well, cheated, but no one said anything about that one yet. No one said a word about that one yet. But they cheated. Though. That's okay though. Nobody said anything. That was good.
Not going to hold you accountable.
But they're a team that can think of it. Indiana has to prove that they can do it back to back.
They do. I will say the investment that Indiana has made
John Mellencamp got a new record sales or something. What the hell's going on there?
Is truly remarkable. And I know the general belief is that Indiana will take a step back. I don't think, and I expect that too. I don't think it's going to be a big step, though. I really don't. I think there's still going to be like a top 5, 6 team in the conference. I'm talking about, not nationally. But I think
Iowa, Michigan is that next tier.
Yeah,
that could make a run.
Yeah, the other team that is getting a lot of talk, and it's a lot because I think it's a combination of the coach they have, how close they were in several of their games a year ago, and the schedule and the way it plays out is Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska is the program that I think if you Nebraska and Michigan to me are the 2 programs that it feels like they have a chance to get right back in the mix here. And also they have a chance to definitively show that they are next tier. And in Nebraska's case, maybe even a couple of tiers down from the upper tier. This does feel to me like a pivotal season for Nebraska and a critical season from a momentum standpoint for Michigan. Not that I think Michigan needs to get into the Big Ten championship game. I'm not even sure they need, it obviously would be very helpful to get into the playoffs, but they have to be in the mix there for the playoffs down the stretch. Like that Ohio State game has to mean something again above and beyond the rivalry component, I think, for Michigan
if
again
they're even
this
eligible.
season.
If they're even eligible. Well, who even knows what's going to happen there?
Yes. But see, I think Nebraska is actually the team that could crash the party here.
Iowa too. I think Iowa.
Yeah, I just.
But Nebraska hasn't done anything. They have not shown me anything in the last few years.
Yeah, but I think Raiola could take that next step and become. A quarterback is such an important component. And Matt Rule, I think he has them believing. And I think they are looking at last season and saying, man, we were this close. Like, look at this game. You make a play or two here, we win that one. Look at this game. You make a couple more plays here. And they were in a lot of games that they lost last year. And it is one of those things where if you're a Nebraska fan and you're looking at that schedule, you're like, man, if we can win here, win there, this thing can snowball in the right direction. And I think there's rightfully a lot of optimism in Lincoln. But the other side of it is that you lose another close game early. You start to question, are we ever going to get it done? Like it can go sideways, I think, pretty easily there.
Yep.
And probably kind of same thing for Michigan. I mean, different circumstances for sure, but I think it feels like there's still a lot of uncertainty now around the Michigan program and whether it can kind of sustain what it's had going here the last, well, obviously 2 years ago in particular, but defensively in particular the last couple of years.
The thing with Nebraska is that I would love to be in Matt Rule's shoes and say, look, like, just make a cut up. Like, there's 7 games we lost with a touchdown, within a touchdown. Like, let's get a chop up of these games. Like, make a play here. You make this play here. You make this play here. You make this play here. It's 4 or 5, 6 more games win.
And I think that's what I think they feel like they were a better team than what the record showed last year, and that they are on the cusp of.
I believe Matt's on the hot seat for that right now because he's got to prove that he can win, and he has before.
Yeah. And again, when you look at that schedule,
very favorable.
Their schedule is pull it up here real quick before we take our break, but they do have a chance to go into the Penn State game,
November 22,
with only a loss on the schedule. Well, I mean, I guess it's possible they could go in undefeated, but I mean, as you look at it, you're like, that's not a far-fetched scenario at all that Nebraska could come in with just a loss and then a whole lot to play for. And again, confidence to me is such a big thing when it comes to sports. You start racking up the wins there, and who knows how good that team can actually become. Open up with Cincinnati at home. Actually at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Then they're home with Akron, home with Houston Christian. Not Houston.
High school?
Houston Christian. Then they have a big game with Michigan. And that is going to be really interesting game because I think they're the two most fascinating watches for the upcoming season, where you're trying to see if one of those two again could crash the party with the Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon.
If Houston Christian win, that could be a big upset. You know, they
trio at the
might be looking past the.
Listen, it's a home game though, and they do have
Michigan.
No, Nebraska's home. With Michigan. So Nebraska.
That's our bye week. We will be watching that game
at home. Yeah, it's going to be a really. So let's just again go down the Nebraska dream perspective. You beat Cincinnati, you beat Akron, you beat Houston Christian, you get the huge home win over Michigan. Well, now you're believing that we're a playoff team. We're right where we want to be. They have Michigan State at home the following week. Even if you lose to Michigan, if it's a tight game, at home it's going to sting. But if it's a tight game at home, you still feel like, all right, well, we're still right in the mix. You have Michigan State at home, very winnable game. You're at Maryland, very winnable game. At Minnesota, I think that's the night game, right? Yeah, so winnable game, but not an easy place to play, and certainly well-coached team there. Then you're back home with Northwestern, and then, again, you're home with USC, and I keep neglecting to mention USC is the fascinating one. Michigan, Nebraska, and USC are all those would be the three. Yeah, I don't think Iowa's much.
Really?
I don't. It's in terms you kind of know what you have with Iowa. I think you don't know.
But they sneak up on people. They clip somebody every year.
I don't think you know as much what you have with USC, with Nebraska, and with
USC
Michigan.
is playing for he's playing for his coaching career.
I think that is absolutely true.
Some stuff I've heard on the recruiting trail, he is desperate to get players and wins out there.
He needs to get wins, a lot of them in the upcoming season. And then Nebraska's at UCLA. So let's say they split with Michigan, right? And with USC.
Okay.
When one of those lose the other, and again, those are both home games for Nebraska. So their two biggest games, at least on paper, going into the season before the Penn State game, are home games. I think it's unlikely that Nebraska is undefeated, but I think it is very possible that you have a one-loss, or two-loss Nebraska team with a lot to play for when they come to Penn State, and then they wrap up the season at home against Iowa. And yeah, I mean, Iowa is always a tough out, very solid program. I don't know. I don't think Nebraska, I don't think Iowa's a team that's going to sneak up on anybody. And I think they're going to win more than they lose. I don't think they're going to be there at the end of the year in terms of the Big Ten championship or the playoffs. But I think they'll be, sixth, seventh best team in the Big Ten again. It's a very consistent program, very good. And maybe they will surprise. I think one of those schools, Nebraska, Michigan, USC, vaults into that clear number 4 spot. And again, I do think Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon will be the teams. Yeah, Indiana. Yeah, I think Indiana is going to be there. I do. They're being top 6 or 7 in the conference. They have really invested in the program, and I do think, whether you like him or not, Cignetti knows what he's doing, and he just exudes a confidence that can't help but be felt throughout the team. Again, I think it'll take a little bit of a drop back, but I don't think they're going to be,
they're not going back to the Indiana way.
Yeah, I think, 8-4 or 9-3 is where I think Indiana will end up in the upcoming season.
According to them, and Washington's going to be pretty good again. They're going to take a little step up this year.
Yeah, I think Washington is going to get back into I don't know that it'll be this year. Yep. I think this will be the kind of the building toward, and then I think next year is the year that Washington is back really in the mix here.
Of course, we have to go out there
in the Big Ten. All right, we'll take a break here and be back with much more. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Tonight, your MLB Draft League first half champions, State College Spikes, continue the second half of the 2025 home schedule with a 6:35 p.m. matchup against the West Virginia Black Bears. Enjoy the most affordable drafts in Happy Valley on a thirsty Thursday. 12-ounce drafts are just $2 a piece from 5:30 to 7:30. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
A final segment here on this Thursday afternoon as we head into the weekend and all of the festivities that come with it, including the Happy Valley Brewers Fest up at Porter North on Saturday afternoon.
You should get yourself a pretzel necklace. I saw them last year. And
grade 8.
I fell in love with them. I didn't have any.
Yeah, the college football playoffs, it feels like the Big Ten is a virtual lock to have 3 in, right? It's hard to, as we sit here today.
A guaranteed 3, right? Allocated 3, and then there's a couple at-large bids too, right?
I think they'll get the Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon feel like they are in.
Okay.
To me, at this stage before we even get the season underway. By the way, can I just throw
go right ahead,
a potential? We have been spoiled. We being the Penn State fans, folks that follow Penn State, in that upsets just don't happen to Penn State in recent years.
Oh,
like I know we don't win the big games. Okay, but you also look at the number of teams who you consider are big time that get upset, that lose game. How did that happen? Alabama, Vanderbilt last year. You take a look at Oregon, just across the board. It is really hard to get through a season without an upset loss, let alone 3-4 straight seasons without an upset loss. Everybody is, me included, has Penn State with an automatic 10 wins. And then, you got to win either the home game with Oregon or the game at Ohio State and get to 11-1. We talked about Iowa, and that is always just a dangerous game when you're going out there. Nebraska has the potential here to be a really big game and a dangerous game. Especially if Raiola does kind of take that next step and become consistent and win games here, be the reason that they are winning games. So I guess I'll just throw out a caution that it's, and I'm guilty of it too, by the way. I mean, I'm not,
yeah.
I am presuming Penn State has 10 wins and just, again, has to get the job done in one of the two. I think Penn State will win the Oregon game. Certainly not a gimme. Oregon will be really hungry for the opportunity to prove itself early in the season that, hey, we're still right where we were last season as the team to beat, and this time we're going to finish it off. So, but I'm just that whiteout atmosphere until you experience it, I think is really tough. The one team that I thought did a brilliant job of managing it and just did not seem to be fazed by it at all was Auburn. They just did not. I mean, Penn State obviously won the game, and I had the better team.
Yeah,
but Auburn just did not seem to be at all fazed by it in any way.
See, it just means more.
There you go. And so I think Oregon. It'll be interesting to see how Oregon, with a first-year starter at quarterback, handles it, and what they come away from the experience thinking. But I think Penn State up front is going to be a tough matchup for the Iowas and the Nebraskas and any other game you want to throw in there. And again, it's college football. On a given Saturday, could Penn State be a little off and somebody is just on? You get a quarterback that's just red hot. Yeah, I mean, it's sports. Upsets happen, and it is the one thing that just is kind of always in the back of my mind going into this season is like it almost feels like Penn State's due for an upset loss, just because upset losses are part of
keep predicting
the sport.
That, Ironhead. Keep predicting them, Bubba.
So now I think one of the reasons that they really haven't had that issue is that culture and the mindset that James Franklin has, and I do think this team. This program, but this team in particular coming up, just is not going to take any game for granted. Like I don't think that, including the first three. I mean, those are 3 wins, even if they do overlook them. But they're not. I just don't think they're going to overlook them. I think they have a sense of purpose of what they're wanting to do, wanting to accomplish each week. And again, with the possible exception of the Oregon and Ohio State games, they're going to have the more talented roster. They are going to be the more talented team. Well, if you start with a more talented team and you have Andy Kotelnicki as your offensive coordinator and Jim Knowles as your defensive coordinator, you like your chances of not being upset, right? Like that.
Yeah,
those are guys that get you ready.
Both sides of the ball.
Yep. So. Again, it's in the back of my mind. It's a concern because, again, it just eventually you figure it has to happen.
Hey, man, that Nebraska game might be a big game. It
could be a huge game.
We're sitting there just like nonchalantly saying, oh, well, that might be 8-0 versus 8-0, 9-0, 9-0. I mean, that's the way it's a real possibility of that happening. And
if that happens, it means Raiola is having himself a season.
True.
And you're probably having a couple of quarterbacks that are at least in the Heisman conversation. If Nebraska's undefeated at that point, it has to be in part, right, because Raiola is having that kind of year. Like they're not getting undefeated with Raiola just being he's doing okay.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be the driving force.
Yeah, and then again, like we're talking about offense, defense have to be off on the same day. Okay, well, Penn State's offense run game and offense passing game have to be off on the same day for them to be off.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the ability to be very good at both.
Yeah.
And once you got that going, man, ooh, baby, it's 94 all over again, brother.
Yeah, and listen, I think
how's that feeling? Like there's that attitude amongst the guys, like, hey, this is it.
Well, yes, and much like last year, I do think this schedule sets up very favorably again for Penn State. You get your feet wet, you get the receiving core hey, let's see what's working, what's not working. Let's see how you're adjusting to things through those first 3 games. I think that Oregon game, there's just going to be so much hype for it, and I think the leadership on that Penn State roster is really going to be important in that game. And let's not get too carried away. This isn't the end all be all. Let's just go out there, have some fun, take care of business. And I just think I feel very confident about that game. I really do. I think Penn State, and with this roster combined, I just think, and it's a long trip for Oregon, all of the things that we've talked about.
Night game, whiteout.
And I think it's going to be a very close game. I don't think it's one of those games where Penn State just rides the wave of momentum and blows them out. I think Oregon is too well coached and too talented. I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to be a touchdown game, maybe 10 points if Penn State gets things cranked up. But, I mean, it's going to be a close competitive game. But I do think Penn State gets the win there. And then it is one of those things, even though I'm concerned about that upset in the back of my mind, I just think this team knows how to take care of business.
Yep.
This team will go out and take care of business. And this feels like their best chance to win it at Columbus in a long time. Does it not? I mean,
I agree.
Like usually I go in
straight now too,
thinking that Ohio State has a little edge in talent. I'm not sure that I really believe that this year.
I'm with you. They lost a lot. They're coming off a national championship. They lost some players, lost their quarterback.
And they have a ton of talent.
DC.
I mean, they are a reload, not rebuild program. There's no question about that. So it's not that I think that Penn State has a wild edge in talent, but I think Penn State matches up talent-wise, and I do think Penn State has the slight edge in experience. And then you add in the Knowles factor, and I think that is big, Goon.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And not just because of what I think he will do schematically on the defense. I think it's what he can do to help the Penn State offense in preparation for that game, and in particular, Drew Aller and Andy Kotelnicki. Hey, this is what we saw. This is what we did. These are the things that,
absolutely,
you're probably going to need to
we would have done to you.
Change up. Yeah. And I think it is for Penn State going into that game.
Both Oregon and Ohio State bye weeks before.
Yeah.
You got to add that in there. It's not really been James's forte. He's coming off of a bye week. He's always been a little bit slow out of the gates type of thing. Not in the last few years, but there is a history
of that.
But
I think that's another one where he's learned from. And I think the players, again, the experience that they have, I think is a huge benefit here going into this season and those games in particular. And yeah, I mean, an undefeated season does not seem like a very far-fetched idea at all. And then the concern, probably turns to, well, I mean, Oregon went undefeated last year, and you see how that turned out. It really is about being ready for the playoffs and knowing how to navigate the playoff schedule. And again, I go back. I think the experience from last year, I think having Jim Knowles and the experience he had last year, I think having Drew Aller with that chip on his shoulder, all of it, I think that all plays very favorably to the Nittany Lions being able to finish the deal here in the upcoming season.
It's huge. I mean, we both expect undefeated season. We have the potential to do that, but you give them a little leeway. You get one loss in there, you lose one of those two big games, or you lose a little fluke game. Who knows? But the world's different. It's a different world out there right now when it comes to like scheduling and your roster and your record when it comes with the 16 or 12 team playoff.
Yeah,
it really does. I mean, you're going to get in with two losses. You lose to Ohio State and you lose to Oregon. Does Penn State still get in there if they run the table elsewhere? I'd have to say yes. Maybe they'd be playing on the road, but I still think that they get in.
Yeah.
It's a different world. It's from
it is
from when I was your era. My era was
Yep.
you lose a game, you're out of the national title rankings, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. It's already over. We have no shot to play for a title. Now you can lose 2 games. Ohio State loses 2 games last year.
Yeah.
And go out there and they won a national title. They laid how to do it. You keep the momentum going throughout the year, and you lose a bad game at the end of the year.
Yeah, not the.
How about how they still get mad about it? We talked about it earlier, but even last night, you still lost to Michigan, and you could see that they were like, "That's crazy! You won a national freaking title, but you're still mad that you lost to Michigan."
Yeah,
that's a little weird. Little weird, buddy.
Oh, the pressure for Ohio State in that game this upcoming season, regardless of where both teams are at going into that one. I genuinely cannot believe Ohio State lost that game last year. And again, it may very well be what have galvanized that team to be able to go win the national title. Obviously, you'll never know.
But if they didn't have the playoffs, it wasn't going to happen.
You'll never know if they won that game, if they still would have gone on or not. But I think it really did just pull that locker room together, which you didn't know how they were going to react to that.
What they did to Oregon.
But when you look at Ohio State was so clearly the better team going into that game. That is one of those that is just I know rivalry games.
The cornerback and the tight end both didn't play that game.
Yeah, it is just one of those that.
No wonder it's a fireable offense for losing that game. That should have been a fireable offense.
Rivalry games, they're just something different, and there's just
a
different pressure that comes with it. That's exactly right.
Buddy.
All right, that is going to wrap things up. We hope you have a terrific weekend. We will be back on Tuesday with another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Until then, be good and be safe.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months and get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too, and their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Tonight, your MLB Draft League first half champions, State College Spikes, continue the second half of the 2025 home schedule with a 6:35 p.m. matchup against the West Virginia Black Bears. Enjoy the most affordable drafts in Happy Valley on a Thirsty Thursday. 12-ounce drafts are just $2 a piece from 5:30 to 7:30. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS once again.
The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox. Steve